This is my first ladder thoughts that I wanted to find an answer for myself, whether it was good or not. Hopefully I will help you with finding some answers about it too. I'll cover a bunch of topics and this is my personal view and I'm not claiming universal authority nor understanding, but hopefully you will be interested in that. Let's begin with the overall ladder hype and start. This was a blast. The anticipation, theory crafting of some new items and builds, making strategy for the first couple of weeks or setting your own goals. All of this was really fun to me. I haven't done it before that much. Start itself was alright. I wish Blizzard could rethink their approach towards EU region and make next season start not at 2 AM. And yes, I know that it's hard to balance worldwide launch, however, this timing put EU in a massive disadvantage. Perhaps starting at 10 PM EU or 4-5 AM in the morning would have been better for and more fair. Needless to say, the EU servers have been seemingly worse than any others, with already 2 hours of disconnects on the launch night and only stabilized after 2-3 weeks. I had great fun starting with my fellow content creator Top Secret, with bunch of funny and cool moments, so thank you for joining me. I had clear idea in mind when starting ladder, make a Sorc first to farm solo some gear and then switch to hybrid Fist of Heaven's Paladin for more cool farm with a new build and doing Ubers in the end. I haven't been too lucky in the first week, comparing to a bunch of others who already found decent number of high runes and items and of course way behind any group starters. But that didn't bother me. My main goal was to check how difficult could it be to solo farm for all the needed gear online on the Battle.net, while having the advantage of the trade. I had one problem though, my 2 main characters were the most popular ones, the Paladin and Sorceress, so selling their gear was not available to me. I wanted to farm 2 new D2R areas level 85 that are good for Cold Sword, Arachnid Lair and Stony Tombs. Arachnid Lair is way better spot for farming online, next to Waypoint and has static map, but less unique mobs to counter that. Managed to do around 500 runs in the first 3 days, leveled up and got some basic to decent gear. Stony Tombs were next on the list and they took way longer to do the same 500 runs due to bigger size and a need to run Act 2 down plus find the tomb itself. However, on the drop side it was much better. Full setup for the smiter and decent value items to sell, main being 28 all-res Mara that went for Sur rune. Overall, solo farming was pretty much fine, even though about 2.5 times longer than on single player. One thing that was really obvious is the absence of rune drops. Players' 1 chances are so abysmal that in 45 hours of farming there I only got 2 mid runes, Mal and Pool. Only highlighted to me that online you really have to group up and split farm with 2 other buddies. Or go for the most efficient places to get runes, Travinco, Chaos, or as I have proven later, Arcane Sanctuary. Anything else did not work for me at all, as RNG is too wild at those chances. Eventually I went on to Travinco to get the runes and managed to drop a Law and Jar, so much needed for Grief and Enigma. At this point, market was already half dead and only the best items were still actively traded, like Griffins, D-Web, Torches and so on. As an example, I couldn't sell my Windforce for Vex rune 3 weeks from the ladder start. At this point I was already starting to lose interest as farming solo was not as efficient. I didn't really need any more items to find, wanted to get back to my grail, and overall my community started to slow down on playing. So I settled on the last goal to farm keys and torches and make some content out of it. By this time I faced another problem of the current state of D2R. I had nearly 20 mules, most of them holding gems, runes, jewels for future crafting and rerolling. I understand that this is not the biggest issue for the regular player, you craft 10 amulets or roll grand charms with 100 gems and keep your stash clean. But the fact that I had 10 mules dedicated to holding those materials highlights how easy this problem can be solved with stacking of the materials or introducing the currency stash tab. I later learned that hardcore, softcore, ladder and non-ladder share the same stupid limit of 20 characters. This really has to change to at least separate restriction per each mode. And since we started talking about the community, this was the biggest fun I had, honestly. Playing with viewers and Discord members was way more fun. We had surprisingly better drops in a shorter amount of time, even when divided per person. and it was overall way more interesting than anything else. One thing to add here though is the absence of content for 5 or more players groups. Literally, it only makes sense to farm CS and Warzone keep with Bale. You can imagine, that quickly becomes boring. I can't even imagine how people sit in the open lobby games every day for a month of this. There is a need for more interesting content for groups for sure. But anyways, I'm very happy that I had an access to play with the community and not search for random people every time, also be able to have some basic rules for loot sharing and deciding on who gets what, as the free for all loot system really annoys me. If you play in a group, make it fair for the group to get loot, either spare what you don't need or let the dice roll decide on the top items who gets them. Farming Ubers with the group was a joke, by the way. We wanted to make it harder, but it ended up so much easier the more players were in the group. Alright, so moving on, I actually would like to take best experiences from the first ladder into the second one, namely play more with the community and in groups. There are a few things to it. You can play any class that is useful to the team, no need for endless Zorks and Palis, as long as you share loot and make it fair for every member. You have faster start and chance to make more currency because of it. You can have a group found going, where people in the team or community share or barter items they don't need but someone else needs. Simply more fun playing and chatting with everyone. Thus, if you want to join my community and play next ladder together, I'm going to be very happy, and also hope that all the guys we played with will be back at least for some month or two. So, was the first ladder good? Yes, it was. It made me realize a bunch of things, build a community and find what I would enjoy in ladder play. Hope it was similar to you, do let me know about it. Thank you for watching and hope to see you at the start of a ladder.